Hi, everybody. Hi, Facebook. Hi, Facebook. If everybody was synchronized together and share it out. We are live. This takes us forever, y'all. I know. Hey, Facebook, we're back. Does everybody see it? I got it.
Got it. Sharing it to a few groups.
Yes.
I'm sharing as well.
Hey.
Well,
Okay. Now I didn't lost it. See?
I'm doing a watch party, so if you see my head up and down, I'm trying to read.
Hi, Facebook. How are you? I hope you guys are having a great night, right? It is now 7 on a Sunday. For those of us that's working at home, I'm sure you got a Zoom meeting first thing in the morning because I got like 3. I was going to put up 2 fingers, but no, it's 3. So I'll be working from home tomorrow. So I'm going to introduce everybody and then we are going to go from there. I am still trying to find it, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm still this one little piece of, yeah. So next year I'm cutting all my hair off, but we'll talk about that later. So I am Makita. I am the host of the Art of Transparency talk show, the founder of the Art of Transparency organization and tour. Hi. So tonight we're talking about relationships. With the quarantine thing happening, right? I thought that was a great topic for just to kind of talk about it and figure out what are we doing during quarantine. I mean, if you're married, then you're with your significant other, right? Or your fiancés and live-ins and stuff. But those of us like me, hi, how are you? That just started this whole dating thing. What are we doing, right? So tonight we will get down to the nitty-gritty of dating, relationships, and have a candid conversation. So I've got some of my tour members with me, but tonight they just speakers on the talk show. They're not tour members. We're gonna just talk. And then we got some fellas. Yay! That always makes the conversation easier and more interesting to get the views of a man. So for those of you all that have never watched, welcome, welcome, welcome. Those of you all have seen us before, welcome back. So again, I am Makita. I am the host of the Art of Transparency talk show. I am newly dating, been single for like 2 years. So newly dating after 2 years. It's been fun, but yeah, we'll get into that later. Yoli, what's going on, my love? What's going on?
Of course, I get to go first. Of course. I know, right? I'm literally right next to you. So, Yoli Cox, and marital status. I am divorced. Been divorced since 2017. Hallelujah.
Did you have a divorce party?
Don't laugh. I'm grateful. Hopefully.
No, I'm saying, did you have a divorce party?
No, I did not. And you can ask me whatever you want to ask me. I went through an incredible time of depression, and it was an absolute nightmare after it was over. So this smile that you see is a result of a process that my best friend is all here. He remembers that time very, very well too.
Wow.
So yeah, I know. I'm smiling though now.
He's like, yeah.
But I am dating. I am in a relationship with a really awesome person. He is really cool. Happens to be his fraternity brother. So he really keeps an eye on both of us.
Been there, yeah. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna go under you because this is the way it is on my computer, guys. Centrisa, what's going on, my love?
I had to unmute.
Yes.
Hey y'all, so Centrisa here. So I am divorced twice. I was forced into a marriage when I was 20, due to a pregnancy, and got divorced that time. And then I married someone who I thought I wanted to marry, which turned out to be a kind of really bad experience. So I've been divorced for about 5 years now, 5, 6 years, and I
Oh,
am currently dating in a committed relationship. So he's a good guy, you know. It's been a process, but yeah. So my thing right now. I like Yoli said, I you know, it took a while for me to smile and for me to process through everything, and sometimes it's still a struggle. But other than that, I mean, it's just been a wonderful journey all over again. So.
come on here. Well, I will go to the right of you, Michael. Hey, I don't know if we're in the same. Do you guys see the same?
I see.
Like the same setup? Okay, I didn't think
No.
so. So, Michael, what's happening with you?
Hi. Um, I am going through a divorce. Been going through it for a little while now, and presently dating. And yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
It's been interesting. Yeah, it's been interesting. But I was married for 14, 15 years. So yeah.
Okay.
So it's different. It's
Okay.
different. Being single again, or somewhat single, I should say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I do have a question. I'll come back to that though, because I got a
Sure.
question. So right next to you is Crystal. This is my boo bear. Like her and I just met, so to speak, but like, yeah, we kind of sisters in a way. Like we are
We
thinking
also
is somewhat alike.
kinda.
Well, we understand like if if my mother had you, you would be no closer.
Right.
Crystal, what's happening?
Yes, I am Crystal Iris. I am engaged.
It's a
I
thing.
had a huh?
It's not with you, but it's something. It's something. I don't know what it is.
Oh, that's static. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
that's
it might
static.
be coming from Michael. I think.
From me?
I
We
think.
don't. Let's see.
Maybe try muting.
I'll mute. See if that makes it better.
If it don't, we ain't gonna worry about it. We're gonna keep going.
Okay, so I am Crystal Iris. I am a dating fanatic. I love dating. I talk about relationships all the time. I have learned so many life lessons through relationships. That's how I became who I am today, dealing with some crazy mess in relationships. And yeah, I'm engaged. So that happens September of this year.
You just kind of threw that. You was like, yeah, I date da 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 da, and yeah, I'm engaged. That's not.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's okay. I'm gonna come back to you because yeah, I got questions about that too. Sean, hi, nice to meet you.
My pleasure.
And tell us about you.
Never been married. I'm single.
Me either.
Yeah, I've been close a couple of times, but
Okay.
I usually say that I'm retired because I'm not actively trying to be. I see you, Yoli. Trying to be married. I guess it's safe to say that I'm dating, but again, I'm not aggressive out here in these streets. I'm a bit. I'm a bit like don't make me give you the finger, yo. I guess I'm a bit like Crystal, even though I kind of stay out of the mix. I'm really fascinated by relationships and fascinated by the man-woman dynamic, and I love to discuss it and break it down, and I love the hard conversations,
Okay.
But yeah, that's Yoli's my girl, so she's giving me a hard time because she knows a little bit more of my personal business than the average person.
Hey, I believe the male-female dynamic in friendships is amazing.
It's invaluable, and if you aren't mature enough to manage it for yourself, you're really missing out.
Oh my, yeah, stay right there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Marquita, yes, this is another, like all of the ladies on here are my sisters, right? Like, we have a different all of us met in a different light. But I
Yeah.
promise y'all, I couldn't imagine life without, like, for real. Because I'm gonna call each one of them about something.
Well, we're not jealous. Mike happens to be my man, so you know we good. We good.
So
Marquita, tell us what's happening.
So I'm Marquita. I am married. I've been with my husband for 21 years. I've been with him since I was 15. And we got 4 kids. We've been married for only 3, almost 4 years.
I'm gonna come back to that. 21 years in the same relationship, right? So I don't know if you guys saw it, right? But I had posted something earlier about this boyfriend that I'm dating. So my sister was like, you can't post him for 6 months. Girl, 6 months, I might not even know, dude. So of course he saw it and was like, that's what you, hey, I don't know what a year looks like. I don't know what that looks like because I am a chronic dater or I don't date at all. So I go from one, like, left field to south field or however that saying is going, but either I'm dating a plethora of people or I'm not dating at all. So to have this one person that I'm kind of seeing is like, and almost serious about, like, we talked about a wedding yesterday. Huh? What are we doing here? What are we doing? What are we doing? Do you know who I am? So it's weird for me, right? 6 months. And you're talking about 21 years and you've been married, and teach me something.
Well, I don't know.
I'm a little lost because I don't, and I think that it's beautiful, right? I've always said, like, I want to be able to say I've been married for 30 years. However, I'm in my 40s, okay?
Yeah.
So to say that I've been married for 30 years, that's taking me well into my 70s.
Well, I met him when I was 15. So we've been together since I was 15. He was 21. So we've been in a relationship that long. So I'm
Girl,
30.
you gonna make me need a shot. 15.
So I was young. I never dated. That was everything. So it was Marquita met a boy and Marquita fell in love and Marquita stayed in love. And then, yeah. So, I mean, it's nothing in particular that I did that kept it going. I know that I made a bunch of mistakes.
Okay. So for my married or been married people.
Yeah.
Crystal, have you ever been married?
No, I've never been married. My parents have been married for 37 years. It'll be 38 years this year.
Okay, so I come from a family. My father has been married. He's been married now to his current wife well over 10 years, I want to say. But he's been married that I know of 2 or maybe 3 times. My mother has been married 1 time and she has not been married since. She got divorced when I was very little. I think I was in the 2nd or 3rd grade when my mother got divorced, and she has not been married since. She's like, And when people tell my mom, like, oh, I'm getting married, the first thing out of her mouth is, you couldn't think of nothing else to do with your time? So yeah, that's kind of my mom I got. So when we're talking about long-term marriage, right? Talking to the people that have been married before. Me and Sean don't know nothing about that. Hey, high five, Sean, because I've never been married either. Like, I've been engaged 4 times, twice to the same guy. Does that count? No. Okay.
I lived with someone for more than 5 years. Me and my mate lived together for 5.5 years. So, I mean, outside of the legal tie, I mean, it felt like a marriage.
Yeah, I can't even say that.
Yeah, it just wasn't as easy to go in and leave out of because there was no legal, that day we just.
Okay, you go your way, I'm going bye. Right. Wow.
In every other way though, it felt very much like that because I mean you're living together, you're in a relationship for 5+ years. Every challenge and hurdle that she goes through, I go through. And vice versa, everything that I go through, she goes through.
Yeah.
So there aren't a whole lot of elements that are tied to marriage that would have been missing in that relationship. It was just that if I passed away, I couldn't really leave her nothing, you know.
Right. Just off the strength of leaving, like it's yours because you're my wife.
Right.
But if I got a will, it's yours anyway. But
yeah, that was the only real difference, in my opinion. You know.
So Yoli, Michael, like chime in for me. Like what Yoli, how long were you married?
18 years.
My God.
Mhm.
Yeah, y'all. When you talk about somebody, okay, so my longest relationship has been maybe 3 years,
Yeah.
4 years. No, let me go with 4 years because he cheated on me for 3. Okay, with the same person. So,
So I
yeah, 4 years.
and I might be in a different scenario. I don't, maybe somewhat similar to Marquita. I was at home I lived with mom and dad my entire life. So I left home and got married, and I moved in with my husband. So we bought a house. I literally went from daddy to husband, dad my entire life. So I left home. So I don't know any different. Right. Ask whatever you want.
It's just
I'm okay. So let me, transparent. Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
So on one part of me, right? I want that.
You know you
Other
don't.
part of me,
No, you don't. So I didn't know how to do anything. I literally left. So obviously, first man that ever loved me, my dad, right? So I got this
Right.
whole like daddy's girl deal going on, and now I gotta move into a house and take care of somebody. I don't know how to do none of that. I didn't know how to clean up. I didn't know how to wash no clothes. I never mopped before. I didn't do any of those things. I did not do anything for the
Okay.
first few months. All right, your listeners about to blow you up. For the first few months, my parents came over to clean up the house, to wash the clothes, to show me how to do all of this stuff before he got home from work. And I didn't know how to do none of it. I was an absolute mess. Trying to show me how to budget and do all that. That still didn't work out, the budget part. But I did not know how to take care of a family. I had Ashley, I still had my daughter. So we was rocking and rolling. So I was spending money like it was water because why not?
So did you work?
Oh yeah, I worked. When I tell you I worked, I had like the job. So I didn't even think about money. That wasn't even a thing. So when he got a hold to my finances and started pulling back, now I got to add it. So it was like all of these things at one time. I was miserable the first few months. I can't spend no money, and I got to cook and clean up every day.
That's why they say it's so important that you live on your own for at least a year before you join your life with somebody else, because you don't even know how to be your own government.
So
there's no
right.
way you can merge your government with somebody else's government. You need,
absolutely.
you know, and that way that gives you the ability to walk into that situation knowing what you're not going to negotiate, what you got to hold on to, what you're willing to go in partnership with. If you don't know any of that, you're going to walk in and it's going to be so overwhelming. Probably none of it was unfair. It was just so foreign and overwhelming that, you know, it left a bad taste in your mouth, you know?
Oh, it did at the beginning. Then I got used to it because, you know, of course, you figure it out as you go. But the only reason they probably would have still came over, I mean, when I tell you floors, just like they were at home growing up, you could eat off of them. And then he came home early one day and they were there. My mama was literally folding up his t-shirts when he walked in. It was like, what is going on?
Yeah, tell me about how that went.
Needless to say, that was the last day for that. But then I started to get used to it more and more, you know, built a house, did all of the other stuff, and then downward spiral. We even bought a dog. The dog was great. Love the dog.
Really?
Yoli, how old were you?
I bought a dog too.
Would you say, Crystal?
How old were you when you got married?
Even better. So I was 24. I left I graduated May of 2000. The wedding was September of 2000.
Wow.
But had the house closed on the house August 2000. A whole hot mess.
So how about I didn't leave home until I was 37. I had 5 kids by then. But I didn't leave home. I left home because my son was getting in trouble. So I called myself saving him, right? So I left home and moved out of town.
Oh.
Prior to 37 years old, other than the salon bills, because I've owned 2 salons, right? Very successful salons. Other than salon bills, I didn't have a car note, rent, mortgage. I didn't have any of those bills. I never had to pay any of those bills. I got a car every 2 years that I didn't have to pay the car note on. So literally, other than my salon, I never had to pay a bill. I was 37, and I left because I was trying to save my son. But I did know how to cook. I've always cooked. I do laundry. I do it all. The bill part was like, what is this bill come every month?
Yeah, and they still
I gotta pay this rent every month. This light bill, this gas bill, and my credit card. Like this thing. So I get it. So Centrisa, tell me. So you've been married and divorced, and then married and divorced again, right? How long was the first marriage?
We didn't even last a year.
Okay.
I was pregnant. Well, I had my first son when I was 15, and then I got pregnant again at 19, 20. And when I told my pastor again that now I'm pregnant again, he was like, get married. And he said that I think on Monday, I went to the Justice of Peace. By Friday, I was married.
The second time or the first time?
First time.
Oh my, okay.
Because I was so engulfed into church and, the things that I went through at the time and just the culture back then, in the early 90s, the 80s, a lot of times your pastors kind of ran a household. So for me, because I was such a church girl, I didn't want to bring shame back on myself. I had to promise I would never let anything like that happen the first time, right? So then I was told I had to get married. So that's what I did. Which was just horrible. He was just very mentally abusive, very, very controlling, very everything. And I was on my own prior to then, so that was horrible. When I decided to get married for the second time, I waited. And I think my struggle was being on my own for so long, from like 16 up until, and then to decide to get married. It's like, who, what, submit to who? We got to share what? No, you pay this bill, I'll pay this bill, I'll take care of this, my house, my this, my that. Like everything was mine. And I had a big, one of the issues I see for myself that I could say is that I'm a very independent person. Right. So I didn't want anybody to come, especially after my mother died, to come in and to destroy what I built as my security. So it probably back then, it would probably be like, well, why did you get married? Right. And it was like, I can love you, but I need my security. I need to make sure that I'm going to be all right. So
it's crazy you said that, because now that I have, 37 years old, I'm in my 40s now. I've been on my own, doing my own thing. So prior to moving out, I can admit I dated guys that I took care of, right? Financially, I took care of them. I can admit that now. There's no possible way that I could do that now. Like, if you're not adding to the table, you can't sit here. You can't even sit here, let alone eat. You can't sit at my table and you're not contributing to this table. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking back then. And I tell my mother all the time, like, you're crazy. I'd have kicked me out a long time ago. Like, girl, I had 5 kids in your house and you was just like, blah, blah, blah. No, ma'am. You got one time to have a baby over here. You gotta go. One baby, one time. Okay, how old you are. But I was I was 14, had my first. I was 2 weeks before my 16th birthday with my second. I was 21 with my third, and I don't remember the ages with the rest of them. I'm just being honest. Them first 3, I was young.
Wow.
I don't remember the other 2. Like, I know I got an 8-year-old.
And that was the thing I chose to. Like, I chose that path. Like, I don't even know why. Like, I chose that path. I think I didn't want to be a statistic. You know, people was already talking, you know, I wanted to finish school. I wanted to do certain things. So that just like, I grew up in a household with my parents, and my parents were married and, you know, married until my mom passed away, like till death did them part. So it was kind of like, I chose that path that I really didn't have to. Now that I'm older and I think about it, like I would have stayed home. And I would have been like, I ain't doing it.
I asked my mother, could I come back? I was like, Mom, so I'm back in Chicago. Can I come back? She was like, no, ma'am. I was like, you sure right. Don't worry about it. So, Michael.
Yes.
20 years. 20 years.
Almost 20 years. Yeah.
Almost 20 years.
And
you don't look like you're in your 70s to me. So how old were you when this started?
I was 35 when I got married.
Wait a minute. You look okay. We ain't gonna go. Yeah.
Thank you.
I want to look that good in my 50s. Okay. Okay.
Early 50s.
Hey.
But I was 35 when I got married. I moved out of the house at let me see. I graduated college at 20 and I moved out at 21. Okay. So moved into my own place. Ended up living with my girlfriend and I lived together for a while. When we separated, I ended up buying my house.
So when you moved out of your parents' house, did you immediately move with, like, you and your girlfriend moved together immediately?
Yes, immediately. Immediately moved into an apartment together. Nice place, nice young lady. Who is now married to a fireman, has a couple of kids, and she's doing great. But I moved into my own house some years later. And I always said I wasn't going to get married. And this was my own personal rule. I said I would have to date somebody for at least 5 years before I married them. Okay. That was just a personal rule for me. And I did. We dated for a little bit, 5 to almost 6 years before we got married. Yeah. And then we've been married another, good Lord, we've been married another 15, 16 years, something like that, I think. So all together, we were together for over 20 years. 20 years or so. It just didn't work, period. Okay. There were signs early on that it wasn't going to work, but no one wants to have a failed marriage. So I know I didn't want to have a failed marriage. That was one of my goals in getting married. My parents divorced when I was young. So I always said when I got married, I wasn't going to get divorced. And I think because of that, I let a lot of stuff slide that I shouldn't have. And I probably should have gotten divorced a lot earlier, but I didn't. And because I didn't, I now have a 5-year-old son. So maybe it wasn't meant for me to get divorced.
Right.
And he's my only child. So yeah, it just didn't work. It just didn't. I would like to say we grew apart. Okay. I don't even think we grew apart. I just think we weren't as compatible as we thought we were. Okay. And even though we lived together for a time, I think there's a period of time where you're living together where there's still a mask up. Everything doesn't get revealed for a long time. And by the time it is revealed, a lot of times people decide to, okay, well, you put up with whatever because you all have been together for X amount of time. Or now your family's become accustomed to her family's become accustomed to you. Y'all go through your little trials and tribulations and you think, okay, well, we're just going to work through it. Well, sometimes that just doesn't work. And so it was time for us to go our separate ways, and we did. And we co-parent a 5-year-old who I just took back over there not too long ago, right before I started this meeting. So, yeah.
Do you all get along? You and your ex-wife? Like, do you get, I mean, I know that there's no reconciliation, but do you all get along?
That's funny.
You only don't have no sips over there.
No.
Okay.
Cordial.
Okay.
the ideal situation would be that we could still be friends or good friends. You have a child together, so you would actually want to be good friends with the person you had a child with, even if you all are not together.
Right.
But at this point, that's not the case. So,
Okay.
no.
Okay. Okay. Wow. 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 So I was going. So my newly datee is watching, right? And not to tell his story, but he was married for 20 years and they don't get along. And I just don't, I didn't understand that, right? And I didn't understand it because I'm like, what do you mean you don't get along? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all got kids together, da 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 da. And they don't get along at all. At all. But I didn't know he was gonna be watching. I thought he was gonna be asleep. He gotta go work. So I thought he was gonna be asleep. So I was gonna talk about him. But I can't talk about him because he watched. But they don't get along. And me not being married, I just think about I want to be married and I want that 20-year thing, but do you lose a friendship by getting married? Do you lose? Okay, so you've been with this person for 20 years, right? You share a bed, you share companionship supposedly. What does that look like on the other side?
So
It's bothering me.
There's a quote that I've always been fond of, and I was thinking about it when Mike was telling the history of his marriage and it not working. And hate is too strong a word, particularly in his situation, because I don't know that that's the active emotion on that side. But the quote says, "There is no hate like the hate that stems from love."
Mm.
And so when I hear that, I imagine the love, and let's use Mike and his ex-wife as an example. I imagine their love being centered on a scale, right? And so the love part is on the right, and the not so love part is on the left. And then when that thing starts to go bad, in our carnal mind, we think it diminishes and then starts on this side. And in my mind, that's not how it does. When it starts to go bad, it swings. And so the amount of love and passion and affinity you had for someone, when that thing flips, it's just as intense on this side as it was on
the other side.
Yeah, it doesn't decrease and then begin
That's deep.
It flips. Yeah.
That's deep.
That's why it's hard to manage, because those two things are so different. And so now you're managing something that was so powerful and so good, and now it's so abrasive and so ugly. You know what I'm saying? And it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to manage. And people on the outside can see stuff that we can't see. Mike is my man. I remember the night that I met Mike and his wife, and I remember the day in my mind I knew they weren't going to be together. And I never spoke that to Mike.
I was going to ask that. Like, did you see being on the outside? Did you see?
I saw it, but it was very simple. And I don't think he'll mind me saying this because this isn't super personal. But I was in their presence at an event, and I saw her trying to stifle who he was. And I said to myself, "Oh,
that's a whole nother show right there. That's a whole nother."
That man was who he was from the gate. And you can't do that. And I remember it.
Okay.
I remember it like it was yesterday. I was like, oh, no.
You know what?
And it's not going to be in that situation. And so when that all played out, I wasn't surprised. I just went back to that day and I was like, I knew it.
You know what's crazy? We have a mutual friend. Sean and I have a mutual friend named Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin told me the exact same thing on a different occasion. He said, I could tell when you all, like, it was probably about a few years into our relationship, and Kevin saw us at an event just like Sean did. And he told me, he was like, hey, man. And he didn't tell me until years later. He was like, yeah, that ain't gonna work because she's trying to stop you from being who you are. And I never thought of it like that. I didn't. I never thought of it like that. But looking back, I'm not going to say she was trying to stop me from who I was. I don't know if she just wanted that attention. I don't know what it was. I can't speak for her. I only know that and that pendulum that he just said, where it swings around. I think it swings like that because let me clarify this. When we first separated, things were very cordial. We sat down, had a conversation, decided how we were going to co-parent, where she told me where she was going to be living, blah, 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 what we were going to do with our son, this, that, and the other. Everything was fine until, and my father told me this too, and he was like, yeah, everything's cool until she calls her lawyer. It's exactly what he said. Everything is cool until she calls her lawyer.
This is mind-boggling.
And he said, the moment she starts talking to a lawyer and the moment she starts talking to her girlfriends, all that good natured conversation you had right before she left is going to be out the window.
Wow.
Crazy enough, crazy as it seems, the agreement we had before she called the lawyer and what's going on now are two totally separate things. They don't look anything alike.
Okay. Because y'all know I've never been married, so I'm mind boggled right now. Like, whoa. The two married people, and then we're going to get, the three, because Crystal, you're engaged, so we going to get to you in a few seconds because I need to know, Is that how it went with everybody? Do you feel like...
I walked away. So I left a almost 4,000 square foot house, cars, we talk like toy cars, like random stuff at the house. My friends don't, MJ, really? That's what we doing?
Man, look, I'm still trying to go over there and get them toys out of there.
My friends were over it. They were over me being sad. They were over me I was not happy for too long. They came over, they packed up my stuff. For 5 days, they packed stuff up. It took, about a week. I had found the place that I'm in now. And that was May of 2017. I literally left everything there.
I moved home May of 2017.
Except for my clothes and just a few items to get me started. But no, I wasn't about to be that person. I'm not about to go back and forth. He tried to shut me out of bank accounts. Now, mind you, this is not something that was ever an argument, but I was the one that was putting the money into the accounts. Like, I was that person. So I hear you on the taking care of people. I hear you on all of it, because I grew up in all right, your man takes care of your household. All right, cool. I'm just dump the check, do whatever it is you need to do. I would get promotions, didn't even know I was making more money. Like, it didn't even matter, because that's what I do. I know how to go out and make money. So but as easily as I was making it, it was also being spent on random items and other people. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I can't, because y'all gonna make my heart sink.
Don't let it sink. I'm done. I'm happy.
So Marquita, and I'm coming back to you, Crystal, because we are I'm newly dating. You are engaged. I'm coming back. Marquita, you've been married you've been together for 20 some odd years, right? 20 plus years. Married for a shorter period of time. However, I don't know, like, what does that look like? What does that look like for you?
So I grew up in a family of chaos. Okay. So marriage to me was safety. Being in a relationship with somebody who loved me or liked me for any, I was going through so much, and he was my security. And so at 15, you think whoever look at you sideways. They love you.
Don't tell me too. He love me. What you saying? So, him love me.
So at 15, I didn't know myself. So
Yeah.
I got engulfed in my husband. And at 18, I had my first child. And a lot of things was happening at that time, and I still stayed. And I wanted a perfect family. I wanted the person who took my virginity to be my husband. And
we ain't alike there. I'm sorry. My bad. Yeah.
So because of the turmoil that was going on in my family, it had to be that way. For me, it had to be that way. I had to have something that looks like something that looks better than what I was going through. It had to look like it looked on TV. So for years and years and years, I said, are you gonna marry me? When you gonna marry me? Are you gonna marry me? When you gonna marry me? Are you gonna marry me? When you gonna marry me? Then it got to the point where, well, you know what? I'm not having another kid. I'm not, you got to marry me first. It was, I'm a nurse now. I'm a professional, and I need security for my children, and this, that, and the other. And then I had the fourth baby, and I'm like, oh. So
4 babies later?
4 babies later, honey.
Okay. I'm 5 by 5. I mean, I'm just gonna keep it. I'm 5, and I used to tell people all the time, I never make the same mistake twice, baby. 5 by 5. Nope.
Well, I made it 4 times.
Help me, Jesus.
So I said, listen, if you want to be here, then you have to marry me. Mm-hmm. I gave an ultimatum, and my ultimatums is like, did you think this through? So we got married in 2016, and my husband is a stay-at-home dad. I have always worked outside of the home. I have always made the money. I have always, so and so I've dealt with a lot, and I've turned a blind eye because I wanted this perfect family. I want this perfect family. It has to look good. And so I'm in a marriage almost 4 years in, and I want a perfect family that looks good. And that's what it was for me.
Yeah. Yeah. What? Okay. So, Crystal, because maybe, and this is just being at this point in my life, right? At this point in my life, I got 2 kids here. One of them are mine. She's 8 years old, and I have a 10-year-old grandson. Don't judge me. It is what it is. I have an 8-year-old daughter, 10-year-old grandson. Both of them live with me. You got to add to this plate. This plate is already full. And because I've been doing this by myself for so long, at this point, yeah, I moved out at 37, but I own 2 salons. I've never not had money. I come from a well-off background. There's no possible way that at this point you could sit at this table and not bring value. And I'm not saying that, money is value, because it is, but it's not. I need to know that if I lost my job tomorrow, you could sustain this house.
Just remember, this mindset came from a 15-year-old.
Oh, yes.
And now I have grown to a 36-year-old who no longer believes in that mindset. So that's the point. I have grown and matured into a whole different direction. But after I got married.
Crystal, my love, what's happening? Because you are engaged, about to get married in September, because the world is going to open up for your wedding, baby. Yeah, I'm standing outside, because I ain't getting no invitation. Just go stand outside.
It's so much to unpack with what everybody said. And no, I've never been married, but my parents have been married for many, many years, 37 years. And I come from a very supportive family that, you know, full of love and stuff like that, a pretty good family. But I watched my father be the provider. My mom was also an entrepreneur, but they shared household duties and things like that. So it was never, I never felt like it was like the man does this and the woman does that. It was never that. My dad cooks and he cleans and so does my mom. But anyway, so I stayed with my family my whole life too, except for when I went away to school. When I came back from school, I went back home. When I graduated, I was still at home. I had businesses and I was still at home because those student loans don't be playing with nobody. So, I was at home.
Can COVID-19 wipe these student loans? I'm just asking.
Right,
COVID-19 wipe the student loans? I'm just asking. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, but me and my, I was in the process of purchasing a property, and the property didn't work out the way that I wanted it to. They had accepted our offer, but I was like, I don't feel comfortable with that property. So at the time, me and my fiance had been dating for 4 months, and he was like, well, Crystal, I think you should just come on and stay over here. And I was like, whoa there. You know, so after 4 months, he asked me to live with him. So that's where I was at. And we were together for 11 months when he proposed. But I was very clear on what I wanted. My fiance has been married before, and he's been divorced for 10 years now. There's 8 years that separate us, so he had a little bit more life than I did. But I was very clear on what I wanted when I decided that I was going to move in. I was like, first of all, typically my parents would never approve of something like that. You know, it was all in my mind. It was always that I need to get my own stuff. So I stayed at home until I was prepared to get my own stuff. But whatever that deal just didn't work out for me. So I was dating in a serious relationship, and Jay was like, no, come here. Like, I want you with me. So, yeah, so we're engaged, and we've been engaged since June 2019, together since July 2018. So, yeah, it's a lot, but I think, you know what, I was a dating fanatic too, and you said something. You said that people have to be able to bring value, and that's how it was with me and my fiance. Like, we were clear on what each other wanted. We had 2 weeks when we first met. There were 2 weeks when I went away to Texas, and we learned so much about each other. We were on video, whatever it is, FaceTime stuff.
That chat stuff.
Video calls, text messages, phone calls, like all day, every day, from the time we wake up in the morning until it was time to go to sleep. And we learned so much about each other. And then the third week, I came home. He was at my house when I got off the flight. We were together by Saturday, and we just been together. But it was more like, hey, what do you want in a relationship? This is what you want. Are you ready for real? Are you healed from your past relationships? Because I don't do none of that lingering stuff. Where your heart at? That's what I wanted to know. And he wanted to know the same about me. And we just really made a decision that this is what we was going to do. And he has really been backing me in everything that I've done. When I when I published my book, he was like, I had so many million things going on in school. My mom had been diagnosed with breast cancer. He was like, I'll do your book signing. He planned the whole event with me. I said I wanted to do we should do videos about relationships and discussions and stuff like that. He said, let's take it bigger. Let's do a radio show. So he booked everything, anything that I wanted to do with my career. Like, he supported that. And that was important for me because I'm a person of purpose. And look, I got to do my work. So he wanted to be a part. Yeah, he wanted to be a part of my life. And he's a filmmaker and stuff like that too. So I was there supporting him. I be on set all the time. So I think just being clear on what you want, but also last thing I'm gonna say, and then because I feel like I'm rambling, but last thing I'm gonna say is,
I love you though.
You mentioned somebody, you don't have enough room, and I think it's important for you to make space, because I believe in energy. Yes, yes, yes. I believe in energy, and if you don't have enough space, if you're constantly saying, I don't have room or I ain't got time, that was my stuff too. Like, I ain't got time for this, I ain't got time for you, I ain't got no time for BS. And if they had BS, I ain't had no time for it. But when you really want that relationship, or you really want that 20-year marriage or something like that, you got to open up space and allow that to come into your life. If you don't allow that to come into your life, you can't get there. So that was always my thing too, that I didn't want it. You know, I was like, look, I ain't got time for no BS. You got to come with something. But once I said that, okay, I'm going to make space for this, this is what I want, then Jay came, and it was just like, like very timely. I didn't have to worry about nothing. There was no
relationship sounds mature. It sounds like a mature relationship. You know?
Oh, baby, they are. Let me tell you something.
Maturity.
I saw them on Facebook Live doing something. Honey, baby, bye.
Really?
I never, you know, like, I believe in real love. Like, we gotta be like, real love is something different, and I guess that's why I feel the way that I feel about this whole love thing, because real love, we ain't gotta guess, we ain't gotta worry, real love happens, and before you know it, you look up and you be like, whoa, wait, is this what I think it is? Whoa. And then, so I don't know that. I don't know nothing about that. I've never been in that situation. I've always been in forced situations.
Can I jump in here?
I had very many conversations with God.
Go ahead, Sean, jump in.
So I was sitting there deciding whether or not I was going to share this particular thing, because
come on, share.
All of my opinions aren't necessarily popular; they're just mine. And so, you know,
we're together there.
I think that we have to be very careful when we define that table. You were talking about that table, and nobody can sit down at the table until they contribute and that kind of thing. That's cool. But we have to be open to the different ways somebody can contribute. Because I know somebody right now who had somebody pay their bills for 3 years, and in one weekend shattered every dream that they ever had together. And I bet you if she could give back that bill money for a faithful man, she paid them bills herself every time. So I don't think there's anything wrong with, especially a woman who has a provider mindset, you know, wanting a man to be able to come in and contribute or whatever. But I think you need to make sure you maintain some perspective about where the real value is, because you can get somebody. I've been in both situations where I could, you know, handle things and fly you here and fly you there. And I've been in situations where I can't do any of that. I can hold my own, and you ain't got to worry about me asking you for nothing. You know what I'm saying? I've been on both sides. And so for me, the table is, if you get sick, am I going to wheel you around? Because you ain't got nobody to take care of you. If you get sick, am I going to take a day off to take you to the hospital? If your mother gets sick, am I sitting till 4 o'clock in the morning with you in the emergency room? So I think that we're conditioned, and I don't blame sisters. They've been bombarded so much by raggedy guys who wouldn't help and wouldn't contribute, that has made them so hypersensitive to just the money aspect. I know so many women that will take that money aspect and miss everything else. You know, and they miss the fact that, hey, he might only make 40, but if you make 40 together, we make 80. Let's go on and
I'm
just
saying.
You know what I'm saying? So and I ain't ashamed to say I've had ladies tell me, "Oh, you're a good guy, but you don't make enough money for me." And I go, "Well, good. God bless you for knowing what you want and what you don't want." I lost one of my best friends in October 2018. I used to call him my voice of reason. I'm wearing his bracelet right now. I wear his bracelet every day. And he told me, and he's a guy who wasn't college educated. He was just savvy and a grinder. And he ended up being successful in real estate. But his wife was very corporate, very college educated. She was all of that. They were like the twins that were opposite but not opposite. Mm-hmm. And they were like the couple everybody wanted to be. And he told me something one time. He said, bro, if you meet a lady and she's harping about what she brings to the table, keep moving, because the table is community. The table is both of your table. And if she can't value your part of the table, if she thinks you eating off her table, then that's not y'all, that's her.
Yep.
So be careful about somebody who can't stop talking about, I know what I bring to the table, because the table should be community.
Absolutely.
And let me tell you, you know what? Most of the time,
you amazing. Come on here. Okay, go ahead, Mike.
I'm single. I ain't that amazing.
I'm saying most of the time when guys hear women say that, let me change that. Most of the time when mature men hear women say that,
I'm on.
That's the last real conversation we have with you.
Yep.
Okay, so what I meant by the table was
no, I'm serious. That's the last real conversation we have with you, because you have just put yourself in the category of, okay, she's just looking for money.
Yeah, it's like you setting a bar.
You just put yourself in that category. So, okay, I'm 51. I don't need you to tell me what you bring to the table, because if I want to deal with you, I'm going to deal with you.
Exactly.
So I don't really care. I mean, for you to tell me, hey, you have to bring A, B, and C to the table. I'm about to retire. I'm locked in. I already know what I bring to the table. But for you to tell me that, if that's your conversation when we first start talking, I don't need to talk to you anymore. You should be more worried about who I am as a person. And then if you want to find out about my finances, then we can talk about that. But if that's what you're bringing to the table right off the bat, then yeah, I don't need to holler at you. Have a nice day.
You know what it means, Mike? It means that if I could pay all your bills, but I know that's the only reason you got me around, and that's the reason that you value me, because I can pay your bills. I don't want you, even if I can pay your bills. I'm not gonna allow you to define my value. Hey, I'm not gonna allow you to define my value, because guess what? What that means is, and I'm humble enough to say my life has been up and down. You know, I've been without some place to stay twice in my life. So I know what the valley is like. And what that says to me is that when my valley time comes, you're not gonna have my back.
Oh, exactly.
And I've lived that. That's not something I'm talking about. I've lived that. I've seen myself hit that hard time, and then the person who you've ridden with ain't riding with you when you hit your hard time. I know that very well. So that's why I would avoid that person, because you're telling me that should the storm come, you're not going to see me as the same guy. And I've always said I will never marry a woman who doesn't see me the same way when I'm on top of the world as I am when the world is on top of me. If you can't see me the same way, then I'm not riding with you.
That's Sean, honey. That's Sean, honey. He's what? When the world is on top of that, Teresa, real quick, because we gotta get out of here. You are not newly dating, but you're now dating, right? Because I need to go back to the drawing table. Okay. Let me just put that up. I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing table, but it's okay. What's that like for you? Being divorced twice. What is that like for
you? What I realized is I couldn't take all of that baggage into where my new place. Because it was a lot of baggage. It made me very aware. I dealt with my second marriage. I dealt with so much because I was trying to prove to my children that you can have a happy family and we could be happy. And, I'm 3 for 3, right? So I wanted to show them that, your mother can be happy. And this is, what a family life is. So I made sacrifices where I was with someone who made me, I couldn't be San Teresa. I couldn't talk to people. I couldn't laugh. He was very insecure. And it got so bad that he didn't understand my relationship with my children, to where, you know, yeah. Yeah. So it became very conflicting. So, you know, I understood that, and I had to say to myself, my children are always going to be my children, no matter who I. My children are always going to be my children, and if you don't like my kids, and I understand people say, when your kids get older, you kind of have to live in a house with them. You know, like you're going to have to be with who you're with. Your kids are going to grow up and move out, and I understood that. But then I also tell my kids, wherever I'm at, you'll always have a home to come to. So the next person I dated had to understand that, you know, these are my children, whether they're in my house or whether they're outside of my house. And he understood that. So it wasn't really having baggage. It was really just becoming aware of who I am and what I stand for. You know, just at the end of the day, I watched and one of my biggest things, like you were saying, Sean, I watched my dad make sacrifices for my family. And my mother, I believe, was like the breadwinner. But when my dad became sick with MS, I also watched her clean him up when he couldn't make it to the bathroom. And I watched her do a lot of things. And even because he left. So even when he left, she was still there. And she said, you know, what God has joined together, no man could put asunder. And that's what she stood on, even when he left, even when he was in the nursing home, even when, like, she was always there. And that's the type of marriage, and that's the type of relationship that I seek.
Baby, let me tell y'all. My head spinning, okay? My head is spinning. And it's not because this is a bad thing, right? I enjoyed each and every story. I enjoyed every guy that gave me some oomph. But I'm still wondering, like, this table. Okay. I just, this right here is not an hour conversation yet. So we will come back to this here table. Yep, this table. Yep, I'm still talking about that table. We have to come back to this table and talk about relationships, because we didn't even talk about what COVID is doing to us.
We sure did.
Can I offer a piece of advice? Because Crystal said something earlier about healing before you get yourself involved in another relationship. I was leaving out of being married and I got into a relationship. That was the absolute wrong thing to do. I would never recommend that to a soul. I was depressed. There was no way I should have been able to deal with somebody that person shouldn't even let me into their life. No, they really shouldn't, because I was an absolute mess. And I knew it, but couldn't talk about it because it was too many things going on. If you do not have that piece together, do not touch somebody else's heart, because you're going to end up hurting them. You're going to keep hurting yourself. I mean, it was a continuous, I'm going to just put these little feelings in a bag and stick it on the shelf. I ain't going to worry about it. It was not until the relationship that I'm in right now, he said, oh no, what we not about to do is have you with all of these things sitting up on the shelf and then you going to unload it on me later. You got to deal with this right now. He stopped seeing me. And I was like, wait, you finna stop saying, have you seen me? You finna stop seeing me?
Do you know who I am?
I'm Yoli Cox. He was like, yeah, and you finna go on about your business. And
you deal with that.
What is going on with you? Because you're crying every night. You got all this stuff going on that you don't talk about because you're not together. Man left me. Like, just was not, wasn't happening. And because of that, I was forced to look at myself and finally figure out what was going on with me. I mean, figuring out, okay, I don't want to be abandoned again. I got abandonment issues.
What's that word? What that word?
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me I got to look at my own self? I got to look at me? I can't just leave that
all of me
and not
in the mirror.
With that. I want to just go on and be in a relationship and fake being happy. That's what I do. Fake being happy.
You know what?
We're out of time, but you gotta let me tell you this real quick story.
Go ahead, baby, because this is the one good part about not paying nobody to be on their show. I can do my show when I want to do my show.
And this is really in regard to what Yoli said. I've always told everybody that I can tell, if you're in a significant relationship, if it's lasted a little while and you have some really serious heart ties in that relationship and it ends, doesn't really matter how it ends. If it ends, you need to give yourself a year.
And
9 months on the short end. 6 months is almost unacceptable. You need to give yourself
crazy. I was celibate for 9 months. Okay.
I ain't gonna say all that, but
no, let me tell you. Okay, calm down, y'all. The whole world went crazy. Calm down. Y'all see how that show went crazy real quick. Listen, there were, my last relationship, right? I was in love. We was all over Facebook. We was Facebook in love, yeah, for real. We broke up in February of 2018. So 2019, I was doing me, okay? But then I was like, this is not what I want to do. I just, you know what I'm saying? This is just 12 to 2, something to do is my thing. Like, turn the door knobs when you walk out, baby, because you can't spend the night. Anyway, I decided, I was like, I'm not gonna do this. I don't want to do this. I just need to be with Makita. I need to figure out who Makita is, what's going on with Makita. Just let's breathe, live, love Makita. So that's what I did. No sex, no intimacy on any level. 9 months. With that 9 months though, I learned who I was. And I'm not saying that everybody should do that. I'm just saying what I had to do. Because I'm used to, So I had to do that for me, right? And now I'm in a space where I'm ready to be in a relationship. I'm ready for love. I'm ready to take that next step because I know what it takes. I'm a nurturer by heart. Like I that's just who I am. So to be with somebody that's not on the level that I'm on is a waste of my time. It's a waste. I need you. If you're not ready, then that's okay. I'm not mad at you, but if we not, come on, man. I'm in my 40s and I'm ready for a family. I'm ready for
but here's the thing.
a husband.
Here's the thing, and here's where I was going with my story is more from an emotional standpoint. When my relationship, this particular relationship, came to an end, it was already on a respirator. You know, I knew that it was not going well. We knew it was not going well. We had done things intentionally trying to revive it. We knew that it was not going well. Ultimately, it was her decision to end the relationship. Now I was at peace. I was cool. In my own way, I had decided that she really didn't love and respect me as a mate anymore. And so that gave me some peace in terms of letting it end. And I was good. I mean, I can't even lie. There were times I'd walk around our place and I'd be like, okay, I'm being here by myself in a minute. It's going to be banging, And we were about 6 months out. 6 months out of that breakup. I'll never forget where I was, what I was doing, who I was talking to. I had sang for a friend of mine's renewal of his vows.
Singing. Okay.
And so I was talking to who happened to be a good friend of the ex. We were standing in the hallway just having a conversation. And it was in that moment that breakup came down on me. In that moment. Had nothing to do with how much time had passed or anything. The reality of it came down on me because she had some challenges that I had tried to be very steadfast and present for. And so in my mind, if you could go through all you went through and I could hold you down and you could wake up one day and decide your life was better by removing me, then it must mean I must not be worth too much. And that was what rocked me. And that's why I say you have to give yourself time because you think you know what direction is going to come from. I never missed her. I never missed a relationship. I never wanted to get back with her, but the devaluing that I experienced when I realized that she could wake up one day,
together like, whoa, that part.
when she could wake up one day and say, you know what would make my life better?
If you wasn't in it.
If I take this dude who's rocked with me for 5.5 years,
Yep.
if I remove him. And that had me emotionally, dating-wise, paralyzed, good 4 years. It took me a number of years to not be dealing with that every time I walked into a dating situation. So that's why I say you have to give yourself time, because you think you know where it's going to come from. You have no idea what the baggage that relationship has left you with. You have no idea what it really is and what direction it's really come from. I would have never thought that was what I was going to be battling 6 months after that relationship, and then for another 3 or 4 years, my own self-worth based on the variables that led to that breakup. I would have never thought that.
So if he said his was a 4-year relationship, imagine that after 20 years. And somebody saying, all right, you know what? I'm up. So I can remember spending many a night coming home, especially after I would drop off my son, and I'm sitting in my living room, like Yoli said, you go through a depression. I'm sitting in my living room, and as a grown ass man, I'm sitting up here 240 pounds crying in my living room with my damn dogs. Like, what the, I'm dead ass serious.
It's so not funny, but
I'm sitting there remembering, because you have this idea in your mind, like, damn, I was married, never wanted to have a failed marriage. I have a son who is not going to grow up in a 2-parent household. I'm in this house that I've had redesigned 3 times for her, because, you know, your father tells you when you buy the house, but the house really ain't yours.
Right. She probably came home like, baby, right, I need this to be this way, and I need this to go. Yeah.
And I had the house years before I even met her. And then moved, okay, house redone. You don't like the house again? Okay, house redone again. And I mean, that's just what you do. Okay, so after 20 years of that, and then to have, like you said, somebody just walk out on you and say, hey, you know, yeah, my life would be better without you in it. So I'm up. So now you sitting there like, and it does, as a man, it makes you feel like, damn, what the hell did I not do as a man to satisfy this relationship? Now, I don't think I had to go back and I don't think I had to go back and find myself. Like people say they take this time off and they find themselves and are ready to move into another relationship. I didn't find myself. I just realized who the hell I was in the first place.
Right.
And why did I let myself get away from who I was in this damn relationship?
So here's my question to you, because you say you're in a relationship, and I told you I was coming back to you, and I almost forgot. Guys, if you gotta go, and we love you. We absolutely love you, and we thank you for tuning in. But this show right here, we cannot end right now, right? Okay. We will be back. These same people that you see, we will be back, but right now we cannot end. And that is the best part of owning your own show, owning your own rights, right? You don't have to do what the studio, right, tells you to do. So if you can tune in a little longer, tune in with us, because we're going to get to the nitty gritty of some stuff. And if you have to go, we'll be back soon. We love you, and thank you for tuning in. Share. But my question, how long between the divorce and the relationship or the dating that you're in now, what was that dynamic?
Well, so she had already moved out and had been out for a little while before I started dating. But our relationship was effectively over years before then.
They say women are done long before they leave the relationship.
Okay, our relationship,
1, 2, 3. It's 4 or 5 of us on here. do you all just nod your head? Do you all agree that we leave the relationship prior to leaving? Do we leave the relationship emotionally and mentally prior to leaving physically?
I don't
I would
necessarily,
say yes.
I don't necessarily think that that's as gender specific as people think it is.
No, it's not.
Really?
Like
No.
people always like to say women do this or men cheat for this reason, women cheat for this. All those things are human frailty, and there may be
Okay.
disproportionate, action here or there, but for the most part, all that is human frailty. I was gone in my relationship before it ended. I don't know if she was gone, but I was gone. I mean, our sex was like Christmas, Mother's Day, Easter for the last 3 years of the relationship. I was gone. I told you I didn't think that she respected me as a man or as a mate. I was gone. So, men check out just like women do. Now, what we do in the reality of that, I don't know. But I think a whole lot of the stuff that we put in the lap of men or put in the lap of women, we do to make us feel better. It makes you feel better if a man says, well, women do this, or makes a woman feel better. Well, you can't do this. It's human frailty. Well, they say men cheat for sex, women cheat for love. No, people cheat. And they cheat for whatever reason they're cheating for. It has nothing to do with gender.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree with that. So, and I reference Crystal, right? Because I'm newly dating. You are about to get married. We've got Centrisa that is in a committed relationship. Michael is in a committed relationship. So I look to you guys to say, but Michael has been divorced before. Centrisa has been divorced before. Crystal and I have never been married prior to this. Crystal's about to get married, but I'm still trying to date, right? I'm still trying to get that part right. How do we feel? Because we do have to go, y'all. How do we feel about dating now? You know what I'm saying? Because I was born in 77, telling my age, ha ha ha. I was born in 77. I know, Crystal, you're a little bit younger than I am. Marquita, you've already told us that you was in your 30s. Girl, let me tell you, but no. So you're in your 30s. How does dating now differ from 10 years ago? Right? I don't know if you guys dated 10 years ago, but how does that kind of differ?
Easy.
I've been in a relationship for 21 years, lady.
So Marquita, you can't talk. You've been in a relationship since you was 15 years old. You ain't dated for real. You be quiet.
I definitely know what I want and don't want. I appreciate so much being my partner's friend. Like we are good friends. He get on my nerve. I get on his nerve. Like he would say that.
But in the nerve getting, you all are friends.
Yeah,
in the nerve getting, you still like
They know I'm telling the truth. I mean, I'm an Aries. That says a lot. Because I'm just like all the fire, and I will, like real crazy. And I'll be like, oh, I love you. I don't know what happened yesterday. Let's just move on. Yeah, he, whatever.
Virgo the same way, y'all. Virgo. Let me this time Virgo is the same.
I know.
We like, and man, but I really do care. Hi, it's me. Yeah.
But the friendship is very important. The healing part. Even going back to something, I forgot who said it. I think it was Sean with just the way you look at yourself, how you feel about yourself. I could not look at myself in a mirror and really fully say I was beautiful for so long. So because it had gotten to the point that, I mean, if he cheating on me this much, he's spending money. I mean, he had Lakers games and he was doing the thing, honey. We got, 19.
I can do flips. I can't do a flip out this
Mustangs
world. I could do flip.
Like the whole night he was doing the thing. And here I am over here. Okay, I'm just gonna keep on going to work and trying to figure it out. No, I did not feel good about myself. So moving into a relationship, trying to, right after that, no, never do that. I never ever would recommend that to anybody. Now. So to your question of dating right now, knowing how amazing I am, right? It took so long for me to say something like that. How amazing I am, the gifts and the skill set that I have, and what I offer to the world, the servant leader that I am, and to then be able to find somebody that also is connected to that. And, I say, you know what, I want to do this. He's like, okay, here's a check. Because he just believes in
Ooh,
who I
this
am
is
and what I
PG
do.
rated. Okay. All
But
right.
it's just, but it wouldn't be that if I didn't show up like I am now. If I was the same, I'm not so sure. I don't know. Maybe like if I had all of those things, one, he wouldn't even be with me. Like he is just not that person.
That part.
It won't work. But to show up as the strong person now that I am, that's what connects you to who your person is.
Absolutely.
Whatever you show up to the universe as, I don't care if it's fake. If it's fake, you gonna get exactly what you showing up as. It's gonna recognize, the universe will recognize exactly who you are and send you exactly what is showing up. Period.
Yeah.
You asked you said how is dating now, and I honestly believe that it would be a lot easier now to date than it was and I say it's easier.
Wow.
I think it would be easier to date now. I'm a Yoli will tell you, I'm a watcher. So I'll sit back and observe and observe and observe. I might have the hugest crush on you in the world and won't say anything for probably about 6, 7 months. If then, because I'm going to watch and watch how you move and see what you do and how you act and the people you interact with. And I'm going to watch all of that before I say a word.
Right. He moved. You moved. I was
I'm
like,
sorry.
wait, where did he go?
I disappeared for you for a second. Right. I was watching. So in the meantime, like Yoli said, you attract what you put out. So since the time of me separating and going through the divorce, it's funny how people you never knew were paying attention to you.
Don't even go there.
All of a sudden, it's like, hey, how you doing?
Hi.
Yes. I'm like, hey, like where'd that come from?
Hey,
like,
how are you?
Like how you doing? Like but yeah, I think it would be easier now. And and another reason why it's easier is because from the guys I talk to and from the guys I hang out with, women's standards aren't what they used to be. So they're approaching men. So they're approaching men a lot more now. And it's like men don't have to approach women halfway near as much as they used to. Women are approaching men a lot more now.
That right there is a whole nother conversation.
I'll be back for that one.
Yeah, you don't want me on that one.
I'll be back for that one.
You want me on that one.
Yeah, honey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These 7 people that you see before you will come back on that one, baby, because that thing, okay.
We appreciate it, though.
I'm gonna lose
I absolutely
on that
love
one.
you guys.
I'm gonna lose some friends on that one.
No, we're not. It is just what it is. We're going to have really candid conversation. And that's just what it is.
I'm candid, if nothing else.
I want to thank all 6 of you, 7 with me. Hey, you guys have tuned into the Art of Transparency talk show. This has been an amazing conversation, but we do have to go. Yes, I own the rights to all of this good stuff, but I don't want to hold you guys too long, and I don't want to hold my guests too long. So I am going to end the show, right? But these 6 people plus me is 7. Hey, we will come back. We will come back because we need to talk about what COVID is doing to dating. We need to talk about dating. We need to talk about love and commitment. We need to talk about some stuff. relationships are on the rise. That's what they tell me.
Yeah.
So we will come back. I thank each and every one of you. Sean, thank you for being a part. Yoli, I love you as well.
Love you too.
Marquita, you know I love you. Michael, you have been amazing. Centrista, you know I love you. Crystal, you all, baby, we gonna get together because we got some stuff to bring out. Yeah, I love you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of the Art of Transparency Talk Show. This is what we do on each and every Sunday for right now because we are in quarantine and I need to bring some real life conversations, right? So real life conversations on real life time, 7 o'clock Sunday afternoon or evening. I think it's afternoon because I'm probably not even cooked by then. But anyway, Sunday, 7 o'clock p.m. right here on Facebook Live via Zoom. I will see you next Sunday. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Just